Hi, guys, and welcome back to Sacrificially Speaking. We're so glad to see you yet again.
We are?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. We're glad to see you.
He's glad to see you. Yeah, anyway, we're jumping in. We're doing a series on spiritual gifts. So if you didn't see last week's, go ahead and go watch that one as well.
Yep.
But this week, we're jumping into the revelation gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to actually start, I'm going to do, start telling everybody their addresses and stuff, and, all the revelation gifts and things of that nature. You guys want me to tell you some of Havana's secrets? Let's reveal some stuff.
Yeah, except it's not actually a gift. It's just him. Yeah. So that's all you get.
That one's called gossip. That's the gift of gossip. Yeah.
Okay. Jumping right in, we're going to start with the gift of wisdom or word of wisdom.
Okay.
Whatever.
All the stuff I try to tell you and you don't listen to, is that what you're saying?
I unfortunately listen to him too much.
This is going to be a fun episode. I'm going to like this one.
What exactly is the word of wisdom, and how is it different from just being wise or experienced?
Well, the word of wisdom is, knowledge, the word of knowledge. Mm-hmm. You got to almost have them together because...
Well, we're fixing to get into that one, but we can combine them.
Yeah, we kind of talked about both of them. So the word of knowledge is different than your natural knowledge. Again, these are all supernatural endowments. So this would be a knowing of something that you have never studied, you don't know, right? It can manifest in several ways. I've had it happen a few times in my life. When I'm ministering, I look at somebody and I know their name, or I know something about them that's very, very, very specific. So that is the gift of knowledge, or the word of knowledge. The word of wisdom is knowing how to give people the practical aspects about a situation of what to do that they would not naturally figure out. Okay? So the natural course might look like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. But the word of wisdom might say, no, this is the way to be blessed. Let me give you an example of something I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, do that. That might make it easier to understand.
I was at the table when this happened. So a very, very, very dear close friend of mine, who I believe if there is a prophet that walks, he's a prophet. We were sitting at a table with a businessman who was in my church. This businessman was an extremely gifted and, might I say, wealthy individual. He was not an ignorant businessman. He was very smart. But he had recently opened up a business in partnership with another man, and it was supposed to be extremely lucrative. Extremely lucrative. It required a large upfront investment, but the gains was going to be extremely lucrative, okay? And I could tell you the details, and people would say, oh, yeah. But because people would recognize that business today. He, after a year, could not get any breakthrough. They kept losing money, kept losing money. Well, I had this man come to my church that I'm friends with and that I believe has a real gift on his life, and God uses him in various gifts as he ministers. And he's very nonchalantly sitting at the table. He knows nothing about this man. He knows nothing about his background. He knows this man doesn't dress like a multimillionaire. He looks very unassuming. Knows nothing about him.
He's a man, of course he does.
Yeah, but he's not a Rolex wearing guy. He's just not that kind of personality. And we're sitting at lunch and we're just having a good time talking. And this man, the prophet, looks across at the businessman and calls him by name and says, oh, by the way, the reason that you're not profitable in the new venture that you've taken on is because the man that you have partnered with is not saved. And the Lord said to tell you that you're unequally yoked. Go buy him out, and immediately the business will prosper exponentially. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, by the way, would you pass the salt? I mean, like, it was so natural in the conversation. It was that easy, right? Well, that became a word to that man. Mm-hmm. He did it. He followed his advice. That next week, he bought the man out. Within a week or two, business started turning around. Within a few months, everything they had lost in a year, he had made back, plus multiplied exponentially, and became extremely wealthy out of that business over one word of wisdom.
Yeah.
Now, he knew the business.
Yeah. His knowledge didn't change.
But his knowledge didn't change. What he needed was the wisdom from heaven. His natural wisdom said, this guy knows the business, and we can go in and do this together. And, but the supernatural wisdom of God said, no, this is the wrong person to be partnered with. And that's just one aspect that I've actually seen that, again, like we talked in other episodes, just completely took my breath away when I realized what was going on. Because it was so natural, it didn't look supernatural. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't demonstrative. It was, oh, by the way, pass the salt after you get done. It was so like a normal conversation, like two dudes sitting here talking about business, but yet this guy don't know anything about this guy's business. Mm-hmm. And so that had to come from God. So God gifted him with the gift of word of knowledge about his situation and the gift of the word of wisdom to know what to do about it. Okay. You got two women in the Bible. One woman has a baby, another woman steals the baby.
Oh.
Okay? And the one woman it's her child, they come before Solomon. Solomon's trying to judge the case.
Yes.
They appeal to Solomon. The woman who's not the natural mother says, Solomon says, tell you what, let's just cut the baby in half. You take half. You take half. The one who was not the natural mother said, no.
The one that was the mother.
The one that was the mother said, no, she can have him. Right?
Yeah. Because
the one that wasn't the natural mother, had no skin in the game, was willing to, no pun intended, but was willing to cut the baby in half.
Yeah.
That was the wisdom of God of how to fix that situation.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from you. Who sets up and says,
we'll just cut the baby in half.
Let's cut the baby in half. That's so abnormal, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to, because you kind of combined word of knowledge and word of wisdom there. But so when it comes to word of knowledge, do you think that it's like always knowing specific names, address, because you see those things, they know their name or address or some like very specific detail. Is it necessarily always that?
No, not necessarily, but it is a supernatural endowment with a knowledge that is beyond your natural ability. Every one of these gifts or manifestations is based out of what God knows, not what you know. Mm-hmm. Right? And so it is something beyond just helping you memorize better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a gift. I personally think a lot of the savants that you see, that very brilliant people that, they're 10, 12, 13 years old and already doctors, know medicine and things of that nature. It's supernatural. It's not natural, right? For a kid, that's something supernatural. And I think we see stuff like that all the time, but we just play it off as, some genetic weird mutation in this child. Mm-hmm. But that would have been the way Solomon was. He was somebody who was extremely wise about situations. So no matter whether it's knowledge or wisdom or prophecy or whatever, these revelation gifts are beyond, there's something beyond you. Yeah.
Something beyond the like
natural.
natural human.
Yeah.
All right. So, sorry, forgot where I was going. How does the Holy Spirit deliver words of knowledge or words of wisdom to like a person? Like, how does that come upon them?
Well, what he does, he comes down and he puts his lips right up against your ear and he goes, Havana Joe, quit being mean to Pastor Shane.
I'm going to take my shoe off and throw at you.
No. The knowledge gifts, the revelation gifts.
Yeah.
It's usually a knowing.
Yeah, but how do you know that it's God and not you?
Oh, you'll know. When
you say you'll know.
No, you'll know. when it happens, it's beyond you, and you're like, how do I know that? And then you recognize that this is beyond you. Like, you know, it's not. These things are supposed to be supernatural. They're not so close to your natural ability that you misunderstand it. These are supernatural endowments from heaven that when they come on you, you like, it's like a miracle. It's like saying, how do you know when you see a miracle? Well, when you see somebody who's dead come back to life again, and it defies the laws of nature because they've been dead for 3 or 4 days, you pretty much don't have to wonder, I wonder if that's a miracle. You know. And so, same way with all these others, you will know. I think where it gets more confusing is in the vocal gifts areas, which we'll talk about.
We're going to get to that soon. But you threw me all off because you decided that you were just going to combine things that I didn't have combined. But that's okay. So we're going back to word of wisdom now because you combined them. Do you think that there's often like a confusion in good leadership skills and like leadership advice, and that being, like natural ability of that versus supernatural ability of word of wisdom?
Yeah, again, there's a gift of leadership.
Yeah, which we're going to get into that too.
Which is in Romans 12, I think it is. And so there's a gift of leadership. That's different. That's a natural gifting that you're born with. This is a supernatural gifting that comes on you. Okay, so you go into a city, and I'm a leader. In my natural man, I know certain things to do to reach people.
Yeah.
I know how to do that. I know certain tactics, or I have the skill sets.
Master manipulator.
Yeah, whatever. That's what everybody else on that. That's what everybody says about me. But anyhow, now the comment section lights up. No, so I know how to do certain things, but there'll come a point to where my leadership is stuck because I don't know where to go beyond that. I don't have a skill set for what I'm facing. And in that moment, that's when these other gifts kick in that you have to believe God to give you. I need a supernatural endowment of knowledge and wisdom to know what to do now. We don't have a building. There are no buildings available. What do I do now?
Have you figured that one out yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, we
have a building.
We have a
for
building.
Now.
Yeah, and look how fast it's exploding. So, so yeah, I mean, but I didn't figure that out in my natural mind as hard as I tried. I tried to figure it out in my natural mind, but as hard as I tried, it was like it was running away from me. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. So. Are the last of the gifts in this episode is the discerning of spirits. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. What does discerning of spirits actually mean, and how is it different from just suspicion or like good judge of character?
Well, the discerning of spirits is when you walk into a room or an environment or you're dealing with an individual and there is this supernatural awareness that you are not dealing with something natural, or that the environment has a spiritual presence in it that is unnatural. It's not just these are bad people hanging out here, but there's something spiritual in the atmosphere here, in the room here with us. In my opinion, of all the gifts, in 1 Corinthians 12 there, he says, desire earnestly the best gifts. In my opinion, of all the gifts that we should really, as the body of Christ, be desiring right now, it should be the discerning of spirits, because we're living in a time where there's all these spirits that are talking. And so just let me boil this down to three. There's three primary spirits. Of course, we know there's demonic spirits and everything, but three primary spirits that are communicating, and they're all vying for your attention. Number one, there's the Spirit of God. Number two, you have a human spirit. Okay? Number three, then there's the demonic spirit. Right? Those three voices are competing for your attention.
So is the discerning of spirits only about detecting like a demonic presence, or does it include detecting human motivations and the Holy Spirit?
No, yes and yes. I think all the above.
Okay.
That's actually a good point. It is detecting that. And the discerning of spirits is knowing, is that my human spirit tell me to do that, or is that the Spirit of God?
Yeah, I think we need this one a little bit more.
Because we have great ideas, but it might
Sometimes.
not be a God idea
Yeah.
that he wants us to do. And so then we find ourselves working on a great idea, but it never seems to prosper because it wasn't God's idea. I believe that's part of it.
How do you think you go about operating in this gift without just seeming overly skeptical of everyone and everything, or becoming, like almost paranoid?
Well, the best thing to do is quit trying to operate in that gift. The people that I see that are weird with that is like they look for a demon behind every bush and an angel in every corner. Like, if you knew the times that people come up to me, and I'm not minimizing this at all, so I'm not talking down or bad about anybody. I don't want people to take it like that. But this does get into the weird just a little bit for me. But if you knew the times that people come up to me, Pastor, while you were preaching today, I saw demons trying to come on people's lives. And then, I'm like, I don't even know what to do.
That should be the opposite of the thing happening while you're preaching.
That's when I want to cast something out of them.
Yeah.
And then the other side is, like, literally, I've had this happen the same day. I'll have somebody do that. 5 minutes later, somebody walk up to me and say, Pastor, don't believe this, but while you were preaching, I saw a big angel standing right behind you on the platform.
Maybe they were just having their own performance that day.
And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, So maybe the whole atmosphere was team. And I didn't know it. So I'm not trying to judge it. I am trying to judge it because
you're supposed to.
If it doesn't bear witness with my heart, I kind of just let that stuff go. It's not that I don't believe in it. I just stop looking for a demon behind every bush and quit seeing a demon in every person that does something stupid or doesn't act right, that cuts you off in traffic.
Everyone is demon possessed.
Everybody's demon possessed right now.
Lord.
That's not the case. Most people are just disobedient to God, and they can just straighten all that out by just being obedient to God. But I don't know. The gift of suspicion is definitely not one of the 9 or 10 gifts. There's not a 10th gift called the gift of suspicion.
Why do you think that this gift specifically is like underdeveloped and misused so often
We're
so often
so
in churches.
gullible. We're so gullible, and we don't watch. Okay, Jesus said, "Upon this rock I'll build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Gates are access points.
Mm-hmm.
You have several access points, right? Your ears, your eyes, your touch, your taste. These are access points. They're gates. The enemy wants to use those gates to try to gain access, and he does. And so, the Bible talks about the things of battle, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. It's all appealing to senses. Everything's appealing to senses. And so that's the reason sometimes it's difficult to discern, because our senses want certain things, or we open ourselves to certain things, and then we can't get clarity. So you had people like Smith Wigglesworth wouldn't even let you bring a paper into his house. You weren't allowed to bring a newspaper into his house. He wouldn't let you bring it because he didn't want any information in that house except the Word of God. That was the only book that was allowed in his house.
But don't you think that's a little like too far? Like, isn't that almost like?
Well, I mean, he raised I don't know how many people from the dead.
I know.
Saw miracles and things of that nature. So maybe he might be going too far, but he decided to live where his information was coming from the Lord and not from. But I think we would all have a whole lot more peace if we lived that way. Be a lot less worried and stressed out all the time.
That's true. Maybe I should just get rid of my phone. That's the new thing. I can't do that.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, okay, we're gonna end it off with this question, which is another. I'm making you share stories today, or just I want you to share an example of the use of discernment and how like it is useful within the church.
You want
Like an accurate example, not the crazy people, please.
You want me to tell you a personal story?
Sure, whatever you want to
do. Me,
personal examples are easier to understand.
Yeah. So I had a person come to me for counseling, and they were in our church. They had not been a part of our church very long, but they made an appointment with me. He did for counseling. I had already knew through previous knowledge that he and his wife were struggling in their marriage. And so, I figured he was coming to talk to me about that. I'm trying to give a context here because I want people to understand. He had been abusive to his wife. At least this was her claim. And we had put her up in a hotel, her and her kids, for safety reasons. Mm-hmm. Okay? This guy comes in, sits down, and I figure either number one, he's coming because he's trying to save his marriage, and he's wanting me to help him, which is what I'm hoping is happening. Because I'd reached out.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Or I figured he was coming because he was extremely angry because we had put his wife up. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know where she was. I didn't know if she had told him or something. So I was prepared for anything. He comes in. He was very kind at the start. He walks in. When he sits down across the desk from me, immediately, and I have no idea how to even communicate this, I look at this man and I realize I'm not looking at this man. That this man has a spirit in him.
And we're
goodness.
Done.
We're done.
But that's
We're
our
cutting
timer. No, you're continuing.
No, I realize that this guy has a spirit in him, and that this spirit is actually looking at me through this man. I know this sounds so weird, guys, so I'm really hesitant at even talking about it. She'll tell you I don't just blab stuff about this. In that moment, I saw beyond his face, his outward appearance. The next thing I know, and I didn't say anything to set this man off. The next thing I know, he flips out, turns into like an animal, literally contorting like an animal, flips a chair over, takes another chair, throws it up against the wall, and starts with guttural sounding voices cursing in a blind, uncontrolled rage. And I'm behind the desk now. Now I'm standing up, I'm trying to calm him down, And I'm realizing this is a demon in this man. At about that time, he reaches in behind his shirt, and he pulls out what looks like a dirty, hairy .44 Magnum pistol. Big old long barrel like this. He pulls it out of his jeans and points it at me like this. Pulls the hammer back, and the whole time he is cursing out of his mind. He is still kicking and throwing, and I mean, this is wild going on in my office. And before I knew it, I mean, all I really remember in that moment is just saying, in the name of Jesus, you foul, unclean devil, come out of him. Come out of him. And when I did that, he ran backwards up against the wall, and he collapsed in the floor, and he dropped the pistol on the ground. It's a miracle it didn't go off. He drops the pistol on the ground, and he's down in a balled up position on his hands and knees. He's still got these guttural sounds. He's still cursing, but it's like I don't know, it's like he's almost being held incarcerated there or something. And I go over and I get the pistol and, decock it and unload it. This guy's doing his thing. And it's so
this guy's
bizarre.
doing his thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so bizarre. I open the door to my office, and I have a staff member who's in an office that's adjacent to me that has heard all this commotion.
Yeah.
But I guess she just thought I was jumping on a trampoline or something. I don't know. And I called her by name. I said, "Hey," I held up the gun. I said, "You think you could get me a little help in here?" And she goes, "Oh my God." She jumps up and runs and gets some help. But I knew that there was a spirit in that man before it manifested. I could see it. Like I could see, it was, I'll describe it like this. It was like his skin was translucent, and I could see a person on the inside of him.
The fact that this wasn't your first time also being tried to be killed by a guy.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah.
God has spared me that multiple times.
Yeah, he'll really make you guys want to go into ministry, hang around long enough. You'll only almost die at least a dozen times. It's okay.
Well, I don't think it's maybe that drastic, but I have been in some really precarious situations where, had it not been for the Lord, that we'd have been in trouble. Yeah. So if you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to want to operate in these things, you need to understand that you're dealing with a spirit world that is going to retaliate.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I've had lots of battles, where I've had to go into churches and, walk into that environment that's been broken and figure out how to fix it, and all of a sudden you're discerning what spirits are operating in that church. so that you know what to deal with to get it out so that you can grow. I go to a lot of pastors and they'll say, I need help growing my church, and walk in and I'll say, well, this is what I sense is going on here. Is this happening? Is this happening? They'll say, yeah, how do you know that? I'm like, I can sense it in the atmosphere. And then I'll say, well, you got to get this out of here. Well, how do we do that? Right? And they don't know how to deal. They don't know how to do spiritual warfare. They think spiritual warfare is yelling louder, screaming in tongues louder, but they don't understand there's a lot of strategy that comes to spiritual warfare.
All right. Well, we are over time, as you've heard. So with that.
You said share.
Yeah. With that, that is the end of this episode. But we will catch you guys in just a little bit for week 3. And we're going to continue in on the gifts. So we'll see you then. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Everything is at Sacrificially Speaking. And talk to us in the comments.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week. That's all.
See you guys.